Last week we touched on the top 10 best loadouts after Season 2 Reloaded's update for the overall of Warzone and that big map experience, but today I want to take some time and kind of focus in a little bit more on the best loadouts you should be using after Season 2 Reloaded for Ashika Island, and what will be more than likely our last loadout video until Season 3 and any changes that may come of that update. Probably going to give you like an overall and big map loadouts and Ashika Island loadouts for reference after each update here in the future and with each season that comes along, just to give you guys some heads up if that's cool with you. But anyways, let's take a look at the loadouts you should be rocking in Ashika Island. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Like these loadouts? Would you add or subtract anything for this list? Whatever the case, feel free to let me know. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and to join the community. I'd love to have you. And finally, this video is brought to you in part by my friends over at Apex Gaming PCs, but more on them in a bit. For now, no nonsense, let's just jump into the loadouts you should be using on Ashika Island. As always, tuning on the left-hand side of the overlay, some of these will seem familiar because they do work very well within Ashika Island and the big map BR experience on Al Mazrah. Firstly, the ISO Hemlock. Still one of my favorites. I think this is a great option here for a run and gun assault rifle category, but not being too overbearing, not being something that slows you down too much, keeps the pace up. For this, I'd recommend the Fielder T50 barrel, the Harbinger D20 muzzle, the 45 round magazine, the Phantom grip, and the AIM-OP V4 optic, one that we have talked about recently, so we'll breeze past that one. Next, the Vel 46, again, another one that is just phenomenal here for close quarters engagements. We are going to build a slightly different than what you may remember from, say, Modern Warfare 2 and the multiplayer best build here for this. For this, I'd recommend the VLK Laser 7mm, the Lockshot KT85 muzzle, the X10 drop grip, no magazine adjustments here, even though that 30 round magazine does give you more handling after the update. It is something that you still want to have at least a base of 40 rounds so you can take out 2, maybe 3 players in an engagement before having to reload. Then we'll have the Schleger Soldier grip and the Demo RXT stock. Beyond that, we'll have the Vaznev 9K as another weapon that is great up in close quarter situations. The Vaznev being sort of unreliable in the SMG department for me as of late. For this, I'd recommend the CAS 1 381mm barrel, the 45 round magazine, the True Tac grip, the Markif R7 stock, and the FSS OV laser, trying to, again, kind of prioritize a bit more of that handling and mobility, while also giving you enough control that it's worthwhile to use this weapon, even if at a little bit of a distance. Then we're going to talk about the Chimera, one that is a pretty fun one to use in regards to AR play, but it's one that will also afford you some handling and not really be too restrictive in terms of your movement overall. It's not a bad sniper support weapon by any means, but you can still get some really good gameplay with it, even if you're just using, say, an SMG as a secondary instead. For this, I'd end up running the 10-inch SA Phoenix barrel, the Lockshot KT85 muzzle, the Edge 47 underbarrel, the 45 round magazine, and for Ashika Island in particular, I'd take the Cronin Mini Pro optic. You'll probably see that whenever we talk about some choice of optics here for other builds, but for the smaller scale maps like Ashika Island, I'd prefer something that's just a bit more pinpoint precise, whereas the AIM-OP V4 is a really good option for the larger maps. However, again, comes down to your preference, but that's the Chimera I'd run. Then another weapon that I would highly recommend in regards to especially Ashika Island for rifle play is the M13B. Now, we've talked about this one plenty of times. We did talk about it recently with the Big Map BR loadout video as well, so we can breeze past this one as well. But for this, I'd recommend the 14-inch Bruin Echelon barrel, the Sakin Tread 40 muzzle, the Edge 47 underbarrel, the 60 round magazine, and again, for Ashika Island in particular, the Cronin Mini Pro optic. This one's really solid to play around with, just simply because the fire rate is insane by comparison, but also it's incredibly easy to control. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds in that regard, and it's a great one to play around with that I would recommend here any day. Now, before we move on, I want to let you know about my friends over at Apex Gaming PCs, performance build company here that I've been working with the last few months. If you've seen the videos, you've seen the gameplay and the just absolute incredible performance of my rig and what they're capable of. Whether you want to go overkill like me and have a 4090 powering your gaming and workstation, making renders and edits a breeze, pushing 200 plus FPS at 4K ultra res, or just something more basic like a starter PC, they've got you covered with the best hardware and service, everything you could want. If you'd like to head over to the link in the description below and learn more, they've got a few custom tailored built systems for the community already built there that can either be fully customized or purchased as is to make the process as simple as possible. Additionally, if you use code ESPRESSO, that'll net you a few hundred off your next order, so check the link in the description below if you're at all interested to learn more about Apex Gaming PCs or pick up something for yourself, and thanks to Apex Gaming PCs for sponsoring this video. But now let's get back to the rest of the builds here that you should be using on Ashika Island. Next up, I'd recommend the TAC 56. Now, again, as we've talked about plenty of times, all reliable. This is probably one that we haven't haven't really changed too much. You might even be able to recite it off with me. For this, I recommend the Tundra Pro barrel, the Echoless 80 muzzle, the 5.56 high velocity ammunition, the 60 round magazine, and the FSS combat grip. Don't need any optic here for this. You can end up taking some things like a stock if you want to sacrifice something else for a bit more in terms of ADS speed, also maybe say a laser, but again, entirely up to you. You can get away with sacrificing a barrel for one of those if you'd like, but it is something that comes down to preference beyond that. Next, the Basilisk is another weapon that I would recommend for close quarters play. It's still one that surprisingly really hasn't gotten adjusted since it became something of a two-shot kill through full armor. So kind of surprised that we haven't seen this one adjusted since then, but for this, if you want to end up having a pocket shotgun, run the Revo LSD 7mm laser, the Bryson HTA trigger action, the 500 snake shot ammunition, which makes that build itself, the S40 rapid loader, just so you have faster reloads, and the SR RO99 grip, so you have that added sprint to fire, ADS speed, and pistol quick draw. Truly, honestly, one that I'm surprised is still as powerful as it is, but may as well use it while you still can. Next, the Sakin MG38 is one that we have kind of used across the board as well. So again, another one we can breeze past, but if you're playing for a bit more damage per round, you want something heavier of a weapon than an ISO attack or say the M13B or something like that. For this, I'd recommend the 20-inch Bruin Silver Series barrel, the ZLR Talon 5 muzzle, the Bruin Warrior LMG underbarrel, the Bruin Q900 grip wrap, then the AMOP V4 optic. Again, very familiar if you have checked out any of the loadouts as of recently. That is the new LMG meta here, or rather continuing LMG meta. RPK has been out of the mix now for a couple of weeks, but the Sakin has been holding pretty steady. Then I'd recommend the PDSW, one that can be a lot of fun and a sort of shake up to what you may be expecting in regards to SMG play for Ashika Island. It's got nice ammo, 50 rounds by base, it's got good handling, it's got decent recoil control, and a decent rate of fire, so it's honestly not too bad by any means. For this, I'd recommend the FTAC Series 9 14.5-inch barrel, the Bruin Pendulum muzzle, the GR33 light rail, the Bruin Q900 grip, and the Cronin Mini Pro optic to round that out. Now, beyond that, the final weapon we'll talk about is the Kastov 74U, one that you can end up using as a pocket SMG with a rifle damage profile, or you can use it as a main for your rifle overall. Really just comes down to what you want out of it. Not a bad sniper support weapon if you choose to use it as such, but for this, I'd recommend the FSS OLV laser, the BR209 barrel, the 45 round magazine, the TrueTac grip, as well as the Markiv R7 stock, and that about rounds out our top 10 here with it. Again, of course, as with all other top 10s we've talked about, those are by no means the only definitive top 10 weapons you should be using, but those are the ones that I'd say are the most reliable and ones that can work out for you in any gameplay engagement situation. Obviously, some weapons will work better in certain situations than others, but for these top 10, I'd wager they can get the job done in just about most of those situations. So that said, that's what we're gonna call it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down below. What do you guys think of this list? Like it, dislike it? Would you add or subtract anything to this list? Whatever the case, feel free to let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay today with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.